Well, here we are again, folks. Brother Peter with tidbits from the Word. We are in chapter 11 of the book of John. Out of 21 chapters we're going through. And this chapter 11 is a great chapter. All the chapters are great chapters. We're going to read 1 through 11 non-stop. Now, a certain man was sick, named Lazarus of Bethany, in the town of Mary and her sister Martha. It was that Mary which anointed the Lord with ointment and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore his sisters sent unto him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom thou lovest is sick. When Jesus heard that, he said, This sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God might be glorified thereby. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. And when he had heard, therefore, that he was sick, he abode 2 days still in the same place where he was. Then after that saith he to his disciples, Let's go to Judea. Again, Judea. His disciples say to him, Master, the Jews of late sought to stone thee, and goest thou thither again? And Jesus answered, Are there not 12 hours in a day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, but because he seeth the light of this world. But if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth, because there is no light in him. These things said he, and after that he saith unto them, Our friend Lazarus sleepeth, but I go that I may awake him out of sleep. You and I have got the picture right here of sleeping, of dying the death of this body and going to sleep, and sleeping until we're called back up. And Lazarus sleepeth. Now note that Jesus is going to go, and Jesus sleepeth, he said. Death is often referred to as sleep. Genesis 47:30, Matthew 27:52, 1 Thessalonians 4:13. However, in no way do these passages teach the state of soul sleep. This is not soul sleep. This is bodily sleep. Our soul goes up instantly to be with the Father when this body goes to the grave. An unconscious death of a saint is restful sleep from the problem of this world, but a full consciousness of another world. Philippians 1:23. The disciples thought that Lazarus was physically asleep and assumed that sleep would be good for his illness. They didn't realize that Mary and Martha believe he's dead. And Jesus said, He's not dead, he's just sleeping. And so here we come now to verse 12. Then said his disciples, Lord, if he sleep, he shall do well. Howbeit Jesus spake of his death. But they thought that he had spoken of taking of rest in sleep. Then said Jesus unto them plainly, Lazarus is dead. And I am glad for your sake that I was not there, to the intent ye may believe. Nevertheless, let us go unto him. Then said Thomas, which is called Didymus, unto him, his fellow disciples, Let us also go, that we may die with him. And Thomas says, Hey, if we go back to Judea, they're going to stone us to death. But you know what? Thomas came to the place to where he was willing to be stoned to death. They said, We'll just go with him, and we'll die with him. Are you willing to say that? Are you willing to go with Jesus today and die with him today? Die for him? We may come to the place in the United States of America where we have to die for Him. It's coming about. It's headed that way. It's headed that way. Well, we have people on this earth right now that if they could, they'd kill every preacher there is on the top side of the earth. Because they believe that's how to get rid of God. But that's not true. You can kill all the preachers and you won't get rid of God. God's going to be here whether there's a preacher or not. And so you're not going to get rid of Him. Then Jesus came and He found that, wait a minute, verse 16. Then said Thomas, which is called Didymus, unto the fellow workers, let us go, that we may die with Him. Then when Jesus came, He found that He had lain in the grave 4 days already. Now Bethany was nigh unto Jerusalem, about 15 furlongs off. And many of the Jews came to Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brother. Then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met Him. But Mary sat still in the house. Then said Martha unto Jesus, Lord, if Thou had been here, my brother had not died. But I know that even now, whatsoever Thou wilt ask of God, God will give it Thee. Jesus said unto her, Thy brother shall rise again. Wow. Well, you know, Martha knew the reflection of what Jesus had taught, that there would be a resurrection. Now Martha said unto Him, I know that He shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day. Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? Wow. He's asking her, does she believe it? She said unto Him, Yea, Lord, I believe that Thou art the Christ, the Son of God, which should come into the world. And when she had so said, she went her way, called Mary her sister, secretly, saying, The Master is come, and calleth for thee. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly, and came unto Him. Now Jesus was not yet come into the town, but was in that place where Martha met Him. And the Jews then, which were with her in the house, and comforted her, when they saw Mary, that she rose up hastily, and went out, followed her, saying, She goeth unto the grave, to weep there. Then when Mary was come where Jesus was, and saw Him, she fell down at His feet, saying unto Him, Lord, if Thou had been here, my brother had not died. When Jesus therefore saw her weeping, and the Jews also weeping, which came with her, He groaned in His spirit, and was troubled, and said, Where have you laid Him? They said unto Him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. He did not weep because Lazarus was put in that grave. He wept because of their unbelief, because He had told them that Lazarus was just sleeping. By now, 4 days though, he's stinking. But anyway, the Jews then that were with her house, comforted her. Then when Mary came, now verse 33, when Jesus therefore saw her weeping, 34, and said, Where have you laid Him? And Jesus wept. Then said the Jews, Behold how He loved Him. And some of them said, Could not this man, which openeth the eyes of the blind, have caused that even this man should not have died? Jesus therefore again, groaning in Himself, cometh to the grave. It was a cave, and a stone lay upon it. Jesus said, Take ye away the stone. Martha, the sister of him that was dead, said unto him, Lord, by this time he stinketh, for he hath been dead 4 days. Jesus said unto her, Said I not unto thee, that if thou wouldest believe, thou shouldest see the glory of God? Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me. And I know that thou hast heard me always. But because of the people which stand by, I said it, that they may believe that thou hast sent me. And when he thus had spoken, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. And he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was bound about with a napkin. Jesus said unto them, Loose him, and let him go. Then many of the Jews which came to Mary, and had seen these things which Jesus did, believed on him. But some of them went their way, and the Pharisees, and told them what things Jesus had done. The Pharisees. The Pharisees. The Pharisees. We've always got the Pharisees. I don't care what church you're in. I don't care where you are. You've always got the Pharisees. We got things going on at our church. Hey, we got things going on. And we also got those that say, Hey, that won't work, Pete. That'll never come about. You'll never see that. Oh, yes, we will. We're going about to do it. We're not going to quit because of those that are in doubt. We're going to do it. We're going to perform it until the day it's done. Just like Jesus raising Lazarus. Something may look dead, but it's going to rise. It's going to rise. So we got vision. A vision is a vision. A true vision won't go away. A true vision will stay. It will be there in the end. It will be there, always be there. A true vision. And many of the Jews which came to Mary had seen the things which Jesus did, believed on him. But some of them, even though, hey, they watched him raise a man from the dead, and they still didn't believe. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council, and said, What do we? For this man doth many miracles. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and the nation. And one of them, named Cephas, or Caiaphas, being a high priest, that same year, said unto them, Ye know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not. And this spake he not of himself, but being the high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus should die for that nation. And not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the children of God that were seated there and abroad. Then from that day forth they took counsel together for to put him to death. Jesus therefore walked no more openly among the Jews, but went thence unto the country near to the wilderness, unto the city called Ephraim, and there continued with his disciples. And the Jews' Passover was nigh at hand. And many went up to the country, up to Jerusalem, before the Passover, to purify themselves. Then sought they for Jesus, and spake among themselves as they stood in the temple, What think ye, that he will not come to the feast? Now both the chief priests and the Pharisees had given a commandment that if any man knew where he were, he should show it, and that they might take him. See, they were seeking to kill his physical life. They wanted to kill his physical life. And the miracle brought results. First, many believed on him. Verse 46 was, this was the second. Some went back to Jerusalem to report this incident to the leaders. And now we saw 11 through 47 to 57, the plan of the Pharisees. And the third Sanhedrin became angry and were afraid of the people's continued to follow Christ, and that the Romans would think that the Jews were planning a rebellion and would take their leaders into captivity. Now Caiaphas, the priest, presented a solution. He reasoned of Jesus' lives, and the nation will die. Therefore, in the interest of the patriotism of Jesus must die so that the nation will live. Little did Caiaphas realize that the real truth of what he was saying, Christ would die to save the nation spiritually. Wherefore Caiaphas intended him to die to save the nation politically. Again, the cosmopolitan nature of Christ's death is emphasized. Remember, the reason that the Jewish people crucified Christ and were upset, they were looking for a physical kingdom. When they laid the sheaves down for him, and he had that triumphal entry into the city, they thought he was going to stand up and claim the place and say, I am the Messiah. I'm going to make this city the great big city. I'm going to make this kingdom your kingdom. But Jesus got up there and he said, hey, I'm not of this world. I'm of another world, a world to come. This world has evil in it, and I'm not of the evil world. I'm here to deliver you from the evil world to a world with no evil. My Father and I made a world, this world, and we made it with no evil in it. And we got another one planned. And one day, we're going to make that new heaven and that new earth come about again. And we're going to put you on that new heaven and that new earth. And there will be no sin ever. Never, ever. For eternity. For eternity. There will never be any sin. And a man won't die. And a man won't die. He will live millions of years. He will live millions and millions and billions. He will live for eternity. Now, what does God have planned from that earth? I don't know what he has planned. He may give man, you or I, who are there, the power to speak another earth into existence and to be the ruler over another earth. Or he may do many, many millions of things. Look, when he made this earth perfect, and he put the animals and the birds and the trees and everything on it, he put them on it for glory. These are glorified things. This is a glory. A tree is a glory. To look at a beautiful tree and not even really see the essence of that tree. We see the figure of it. But the true tree is where the air comes from that we breathe. That tree is a living creature, a living thing that makes air that we breathe. Our lungs are suited to that air that tree makes. How anybody could just believe that just happened is beyond me. Because there's no way under the sun that it just happened. That's the truth. So, here we have all of these things. Now, I don't know what Jesus has. He has that new city, Jerusalem. We're going to be there for a bit. And while we're there, that thing is going to be above the 1,000-year reign on this earth. And that city is going to hang there. And we're going to be able to go in and out. And there's going to be a river flowing there with 12 manner of fruits from the throne of God. And we're going to be able to eat. You say, Brother Peter, we've died. Yes, we have. And we're in our resurrected body. Yes, we are. Are we going to eat in it? I don't think there'd be 12 manner of fruit there, one for every month, if we were not going to eat of it. So, we're going to eat of it. Now, it may be the words of life. It may be this book hanging off those trees. It may be the words of life that we eat from it. We may not need physical food. We may each month, 12 months a year, take a chapter out of it, a verse out of it, or something out of it, and eat on that for a month. I don't know how it's going to work, neither do you or anybody else. All we know is it's going to be there, and we don't know how it's going to be. But we know if Jesus said it's going to be there, it's going to be there. Now, we have just gone through 57 verses of the Bible in a matter of 21 minutes. And do you know that the explanation of the Bible is self-explanatory? And if we will read it, and we will read it with asking Jesus to give us what it says, to show us what it says, we won't have any problems like we feel like we have all the time. So let's get in the book and follow the book. This was chapter 11 that we've done in this series, and we're going to call it a day today at 21 minutes. I have red writing up there, and I can't see red. And if that was black up there, I could see it. And I'm going to have to get my friend who knows how to run this computer. I don't know nothing about it. All I know is how to sit in front of it and do it. I don't know how to change that from red to black, but I know it can be done. And then I could see it without leaning forward and looking like an idiot, like some kind of giraffe trying to get a limb off the top of a tree. But we'll see you next time. So this is Brother Peter saying bye-bye.